hey, you're coming in here, we're starting here. Once you walk through this, the next logical step would be here. And once you walk through this and have these results here, the next logical step would be here. So you're basically taking somebody on a path that they know ahead of time. So they're striving to reach that next goal to get to that next place. Natalie Jill here with Sinclair. Welcome back. And today we're talking about simple ways to seed your offer. Now, Sinclair and I started with a little list, like, okay, what are the 5 or 6 or 7, because we're supposed to do that, right? Have 5 or 6 or 7 ways to seed an offer. But what we quickly realized is we both had actually different versions of seeding. So we want to share with you those two perspectives. They're actually both super important, but a little bit of a different perspective shift there. So when I think of seeding, I think of taking people on a journey. So you're taking them on a journey either with you or on their customer journey. So it's basically dropping, literally picture actual seeds. You're dropping seeds to grow a plant later. For example, if I know that in 4 weeks or a month or whatever it is, I am going to have a program that, let's just make up something. Like I have a program that shows you how to achieve any goal. I would seed by speaking into goal achievement and what it takes to achieve a goal and how I'm working on a goal. And I would seed by talking about the different things I'm experimenting with while I'm learning how to achieve this goal and what I'm walking through and what obstacles I'm coming up against. And I would be bringing my audience, you, along with me while I was doing that. Then as I get closer to having this solution, I'm going to share with you that I figured out a way to make this work for the problem I was having. That to me is seeding because I'm bringing you on the journey. And now when I bring up an offer or a solution, it's not out of left field because I've taken you on the journey with me. That's my perspective of seeding. What's yours, Sinclair?
I think that's so good because we're both talking about this in terms of timelines. You're taking people on a journey and I'm seeding. I'm basically tossing out seeds down somebody's future timeline, like way out there, And so the way I think about seeding is introducing this concept that there is a solution and sharing different aspects of that solution in very bite-sized drops in an indirect way. So it's more like laying out a buffet on the table for me, where through stories, I lay out resources. It's a very respectful way to teach. It's a respectful way to sell because people get to pick up whatever feels just right to them. Right.
Oh, I love that.
Yeah. Like I'll have a little of this on my plate, a little bit of this, and they start planning their meal ahead of time. Right. So the way I do it is like, when I talk about my personal story, for example, if I'm lecturing from stage, I'll share how I discovered something and then turned it into a provable system that then became distilled down into this 4-week experience. Right.
And to add to that, I'm going to say, I think something we both do that I want to bring up. So adding sort of a third perspective on this is seeding the whole customer journey. So saying things like, hey, you're coming in here, we're starting here. Once you walk through this, the next logical step would be here. And once you walk through this and have these results here, the next logical step would be here. So you're basically taking somebody on a path that they know ahead of time. So they're striving to reach that next goal to get to that next place. That would also be a way to seed.
Yeah, I think that's exactly right. I was speaking at this conference a couple of months ago, and I was teaching the entrepreneurs in the audience how to have an easier time with their customers. So like how to reduce customer issues. One of the most important things you can do when someone has paid for something is you never stop educating them on what they have paid for. It doesn't stop after the sales purchase point, right? You sold them into it, great, but then you keep educating them on what's in that service or product that they bought and how it is limited. Like how great that you just bought Rapid Gut Reset from me, for example, and this is what we cover. And it's common to have liver issues. If you have liver issues, here's how you'd know. You would go into Rapid Liver Reset afterwards, put it on their timeline through success stories, for example. Right? That's a very gentle, genuine way to reassure somebody like, yes, what you just invested in is so great. And it doesn't cover everything under the sun. It's this experience only. So you keep their expectations realistic and you also help seed the next thing.
I would also say seeding is important within a program. So I'll know, for instance, in an 8-week fat loss program that I sold for years, I knew that by week 2 or 3, people would start losing motivation. They would start the first 14 days motivated, and then they would lose motivation. And then what would happen was people would fall off track. So what I started doing is seeding from day one. Here's what's going to happen. Week 1, you're going to feel on fire. Week 2, you're going to feel this way. By week 3, what tends to happen is this. So I point out the issue ahead of time so people know when it comes, oh, she prepared us for this. What do I do instead?
How to recognize
that type of seeding is critical too. So if you know in your customer journey, you're losing people at a certain point, or you tend to get people frustrated or whatever it is, call attention to that early on so they know when it hits, oh, she already prepared me for this. I already knew this was coming and this is how I deal with that. That's another way to seed.
I think that's so important because you got to remember you're your subject matter expert, right? Your person, your avatar is just following along based on the expectations that you have shaped. You're in charge of the selling experience and the delivery itself. So it behooves you to always orient them. Here's where you're at on the journey. It makes your life easier. It makes their life easier. Like they don't know, is this the only investment I'll ever need on this topic? They're going to assume so unless you tell them otherwise. So it's a service to both of you.
Yes. And let's just point out that you just used the word behooves. I haven't heard that word in a long time. It behooves you. On that note,
what are you trying to tell me?
We'll be selling a behooving program in the next 5 weeks. And we just gave you a real lifetime seed. I'm just kidding.
I would love to know what's in that program.
Well, it would behoove you to stay on and find out. On that note, I hope you found this helpful with how to seed, because there's lots of easy ways to seed. Just make sure that you're doing it.
Yeah. Step number 1, do some of it.